Upgrade time, baby. Hello world, it's upgrade time. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's upgrade time. Hello and welcome to the upgrade video. So when I do like an upgrade to my reptile room, it's difficult for a couple reasons. One, because I've used the space so efficiently in this room, if I want to remove things or add things, it's kind of a monumental task because I've planned everything right down to the smallest square inch. And two, I'm a grad student, which means that if I want to execute these sort of grand designs for my reptile room, I have to do so on a schedule that I can fit in to my already kind of destroyed schedule. But you know what? But something ingenuity, we're gonna make it work. Basically, small changes require a significant amount of planning on my part. But luckily, that's my favorite thing to do. I sure do love planning. So let's plan out an upgrade. First and foremost is this fool over here, Teddy. By the time I make this video, he'll be long gone, but I need to say goodbye to my son. I'm gonna kill him and eat him in a way that nourishes me with his nutrients. No, he's going back to his owner. So my son needs to leave. My adopted son, my chosen son. And with him, his cage will depart, which means now I have this giant 4x2x2 empty space where another cage is gonna go. And what cage is gonna replace that? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. I have another 4x2x2 cage that I'm gonna move up here. Apollo, my corn snake, is actually going to move into. Apollo's a wonderful snake. He's so lovely. He deserves more than the 50-gallon cage that he's been in for the better part of the past 6 years. But wait, oh, you can't just hot swap a new cage because Teddy's cage, that thing right there, this thing that I'm pointing at, is actually not 4x2x2. It's 4 foot by 2 foot by 18 inches tall. And Apollo's new cage is an additional 6 inches taller than that, which means that this plant hood that I have right over here is not going to be able to fit there anymore. I can get a new hood, replace the legs, make it a little bit shorter, and squeeze my plants under it, and then boom, that would fit the hood. But then the problem with that is the plants have done so well, now they won't fit in that spot if I raise the cage by 6 inches. So the plants need to find a new place. But I'm gonna save a full upgrade for Apollo into that 4-foot cage, plus a full upgrade for my king snake Nix also into a larger cage for separate videos just because they're much larger projects. For the purpose of this video right now, I'm just gonna give them a refresh. Give them clean substrate, clean off all their decor. That's just part of like regular maintenance, you know, just to prevent the spread of bacteria and like gross stuff. Just to give them a clean environment so they can have a smooth transition into their new larger homes at some point in the near future. Additionally, I plan to do the same for Ackie, my Ackie monitor. Right now, his cage is far too dry and he needs soil that is a little bit more moist so that he can facilitate shedding a little bit easier. Plus, he needs something that's a little bit deeper so that he can dig in it. I'm also gonna throw in some bugs and just try to add like a small little cleanup crew just as an experiment. Maybe it fails, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. Please subscribe if you haven't, or I will use this cube of serpentine to cast a plague upon you and your bloodline. So before we 100% start the upgrade, this is something that I'm going to film over the course of like 4 months. So all the work that you see that occurred in this video happened disparately an hour and a half here and there, just like on weekends and whatnot. So first things first, Teddy's gotta go. I'm gonna give his owner a giant bag of dirt to take with them up to wherever they're moving. So goodbye, Teddy, you will be missed. I love you, and I hope I get to see you again sometime.
I really love blue-tongued skinks as a species. I think they're so charismatic, they're fairly easy to care for, and really fun to interact with. You can see here Teddy is just so curious about what I'm doing, not knowing, and honestly not even really caring that we're about to part ways forever. A lizard's capacity for curiosity is honestly one of my favorite things about keeping them as pets. I feel like people have these conceptions about snakes, lizards, and reptiles in general that they only experience like base level consciousness and phenomenology. I think that's why we use the term reptilian or lizard brain to explain like behaviors that are triggered out of pure impulse without complex feeling or thought. But that being said, I think we don't really give these animals enough credit. Even if they are just wondering if food is coming or if they're fearful, is that not still curiosity?
I'm just recording this because I'm making a video.
What video?
It's just, I'm just cataloging all the little periodic upgrades that I'm doing to my room in the wake of Teddy leaving. Yeah, it's like dominoes. One thing goes and then you have to fill it immediately.
The amount of planning you put into your room is
Thank you.
exactly opposite of my life. Okay? I think I'm starting to care slightly more, but not quite enough to do anything about it.
I'm gonna miss this fool. He's a nice lizard. A sweet lizard, one of the best, easiest to handle, very cute, picturesque, huge, legend. I'm actually truly very sad now that Teddy is gone. I will be getting another blue tongue skink in the future for sure. Rest in peace, Teddy. Not dead, not even forgotten, not even really gone. I love you like my child, Teddy. On to other things.
Eventually, I'm gonna have to move this to make way for Apollo's new cage, but like I said, that's another project for another video. By the way, this is just an IKEA table with some LED shop lights from Home Depot stuck to the bottom of it. You can grow pretty much any houseplant with any LED light at home as long as it's bright enough. There's no need really to buy LEDs marketed as grow lights. In fact, it's probably better if you don't because they're usually cheaply made and break fairly easily. If you want more info on grow lights, I'll throw a link in the description. Consciousness raising.
Okay, I have kind of an unfortunate update. The plan was that over a certain amount of time, I would do minor upgrades to Cracky, Nick's, Apollo's cages, and maybe make them semi-bioactive just because I'm on that kick right now. But I've received unfortunate news that my house needs to be fumigated, which means everything living needs to come out. And that is something that's gonna happen a few months from now. Yeah, a few months of slight upgrades would be beneficial to these animals, and I'm still going to do it. So Athena's bioactive cage that I made the video on, it needs to come apart. Like, I can't just move it. It's upstairs in my house and it's made of glass and it's like 200 pounds. All of the cleanup crew has to come out, which means all of the substrate has to come out. I'm not taking everything down to upgrade them further. Like, I still have to figure out how I'm gonna move all of them for the fumigation. Also, all my plants I have to move too. The bugs are easy. Like, those all, like, they all literally come in like stackable buckets. So I don't think that will be difficult. So I feel like this is kind of throttling me a little bit because now the challenge isn't, oh, how do I get these guys into larger, better spaces? It's how do I get them out of my house for a week? Wow, I was clearly very upset about that. After some clarity, everything is actually totally fine. Apollo and Nyx's cage refreshes will be unaffected by the fumigation. And I'm just gonna do Cracky's bioactive thing anyway, because whatever, like, it'll still be 3 months of an experiment. As for Athena's cage, yeah, that's gonna move. I'm not gonna film that because that's gonna be a nightmare, but it'll happen to me and everything will be cool. So let's just work on Cracky's cage.
So this minor upgrade is both an experiment in bioactivity as well as a small step forward towards upping my care of Cracky. I had about a 2-year period of really just not taking the best care of my animals due to personal life reasons, and now in the present day I'm playing catch up trying to rectify it. I do have plans this year to move Cracky into a much larger setup, but until then, a deeper, moisture substrate is definitely something he needs, so it's something we're gonna do. Right now I'm adding in his new substrate, which is a mix of topsoil, play sand, a little bit of cocoa fiber, and a tiny bit of sphagnum moss. It should retain moisture better than the cocoa fiber and sand mixture that was in there before, and it'll be a lot more conducive to housing a cleanup crew full of helpful bugs to pick up whatever waste particles are left behind after spot cleaning. I'm periodically adding some of his decor back into the cage as well, just because you want some of it to be buried in the substrate, so that way if he digs underneath it, it's not going to crush him if it just sits directly on top of the substrate. Additionally, I'm going to try and experiment with this pot of blue fescue grass, see how that survives. And if it does well post-fumigation, I'll probably unpot it and put it directly into the substrate, though I hypothesize Cracky will probably destroy it via tunneling. Additionally, the cleanup crew I'm using is some powder orange isopods from my roach enclosure, as well as some just random springtails that I had laying around in one of the many springtail containers I have. If any mold grows, the springtails will take care of him, and if Cracky doesn't finish any of his food or if he poops, that's what the isopods are there for. Ackie monitors live in very arid environments, but retreat to very humid tunnels under the ground to escape the heat, so that being said, I think the cleanup crew should do pretty well in here, though we'll monitor it, of course, to track its progress. Now I'll Cracky back and we'll see how he likes it.
The fumigation doesn't stop the fact that both of these animals should have their cages disinfected and their substrates refreshed just to be free of bacteria and all that kind of stuff coming in. Probably could just leave everything here and like the fumigation would take care of any sort of bacteria concerns, but better safe than sorry. So we're just gonna give them like their yearly refresh, and we'll call that part of the upgrade. Like I said previously, both Apollo and Nyx are gonna get full setup upgrades into much larger enclosures when the fumigation finishes. I did think it was apt to give them little refreshes just because they're not going to be transitioned to their new homes for quite a while. It's also just a good care habit to do a substrate replacement every once in a while, since stagnant substrate can grow bacteria, mold, and etc. if they poop and, I don't catch it, or if I don't get all the bits out and all of, tasty little particles out. Also, maybe you can kind of see it in this video, but like my least favorite part of deconstructing these cages and doing maintenance is the fact that I just get absolutely assaulted by dust. So now it's time to just spray everything down and then just cook the shice out of the wood. It's probably not the most necessary thing in the world, but I figure it's worth it just because I haven't done like a super deep clean and a disinfect on my snake's decor in a while. I'm also planning on throwing out all of the fake plants. No more fake plants. 2025, baby. We up. New year, new me. There was an absolutely demonic amount of dust, and also, unfortunately, a ton of dead isopods. Also, while I was cleaning, I tried putting the snake rug that I have under the rack because, hey, there's snakes on the rack, and it's a snake rug, kind of thematic consistency, but it didn't fit. All is fair in love and interior design, I suppose. Also, these cages are being sprayed down just with the Bonji Classic, or the Reptile Keeper Classic, which is water and then a diluted bleach water solution and then some vinegar after to get sediments and water stains away. Honestly, as fun as it is to completely redo setups, I'm going to try to keep things relatively simple and similar to the way that their cages were before I did all the substrate changes, just to limit the amount of adjustment shock they go through. I have so much fun creating new and fun layouts for all of my reptiles, but most of the time it's really just not necessary, and it's more just like a cosmetic thing for me than an actual utilitarian thing for them. Especially Apollo, like he has a system down with his hides, and you can see like the second that I put his cage right back together, he went back hiding to the same exact hide that he pretty much always uses. I'm very, very excited to eventually give him a full upgrade. He is very long overdue, and he definitely deserves something much nicer and larger than he's currently in. Nyx, on the other hand, I am making these tiny minor changes to emphasis on the small changes. Honestly, she outgrew this cage so much faster than I thought she was going to be, and to this day when we hang out, it honestly astounds me that she's such a large, robust, and kind of strong snake now. She was such a, little worm when I got her, and now she's a real-ass snake. Took the twigs and the fake plants out and gave her a much larger piece of cork bark to sleep in because all of the cork that was currently in her cage was just far too small for her, and she was mostly just using as a shedding medium instead of a hide. I really, really wanted this large piece of dry cactus to work, but I honestly just couldn't get it to fit. I'm really excited to eventually give her a full bioactive and much more aesthetically appealing cage to live in. Honestly, the setup that she's in right now doesn't look as pretty as it was previously, but the emphasis here was less on aesthetics and more on cleanliness, so if anything, it'll give me more motivation to get her into a larger, prettier, and more utilitarian cage as soon as I possibly can. Hey homies, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and comment and tell me your second favorite movie of the year. I think mine is Challengers, or I guess maybe that's my favorite. It's Challengers or Dune. It's one of those two. I have some more Reptile videos coming, but I'm also really excited to share with you guys some more commentary, critical, video essay type content. But I'm really excited about these videos, and they're taking longer than I wanted them to take, but they're going really, really well. So hopefully I'll push those out soon, and you guys can let me know what you think. Have a tic tac. Peace out.